person, Deidre Brock.
I admit it's a little frustrating. The procedures of this place mean I have to wait a week before I can respond to comments the leader makes in these sessions. But the motto of Leith in my constituency is persevere, so persevere I shall. Now, the leader does like playing the schoolmarm, Mr. Speaker, but I'm afraid last week's efforts deserved 100 lines on context. For example, she said Scotland has the worst A&E wait times on record, while failing to mention England's A&E wait times are the worst on record too, or that Scotland's are nevertheless considerably better than England's. Some context, I'm sure any schoolmum would agree, is important. Now, I recognise attack is the best form of defence, but I wonder, though, Mr. Speaker, if the time hasn't come for the government to install that independent House of Commons fact-checking service some have called for. A real one, not the Conservative pretendy one we saw in 2019, with an instant replay, an adjudication function, a klaxon, and perhaps a 3 strikes and you're out feature. But it's been such an exciting week, Mr. Speaker, not just for those of us in the Westminster SNP group. Government in a shambles again, further revelations about Baroness Moan and VIP lanes and PPE contracts, and the release of Labour's Gordie Broom Commission report, which seems only to have left people wondering why Labour thinks it can impose its constitutional proposals on Scotland because of a democratic mandate it hopes to win at the next election, but won't recognise the democratic mandate for an independence referendum won by the Scottish Government at several elections. And he's trying to save his precious union, though, Mr. Speaker, with assortments from his big bag of vows. So could the government perhaps humour an old ex-Prime Minister and allow a debate on the devolution of powers to the so-called extremities? Extremities being, of course, everywhere that is not London. And given the mood of current red wallers on Conservative backbenchers, it might prove a popular move. And speaking of popular moves, lastly, I noticed the leader's been sharing her weekly contributions on the SNP up on social media. But if she ever looks below the line, Mr. Speaker, she'll notice the vast majority of comments are from people in Scotland absolutely infuriated by her remarks. And guess what, Mr. Speaker? Just yesterday, a major Scottish poll told us 56% of our people support independence, and that support for the Tories has crashed to a mere 14%. So I just want to say to her, Mr. Speaker, keep those media clips coming. Her unwitting but welcome embrace of the cause of independence for Scotland will not be forgotten.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, the Honourable Lady mentions the report produced by the former Prime Minister, which, although I welcome debate, I think they are flawed ideas. I shan't call him yesterday's man, but Labour are increasingly looking like yesterday's party. She has painted me as a schoolmarm this week, so I shall role play, Mr. Speaker, and give her an arithmetic lesson, because the Scottish Government this week have complained that they are having to make $1 billion cuts, despite the fact that they have 26% more funding per head than England. And I'm going to just suggest to her that she might like to, just some suggestions about how she might find that. She might cancel the 20 million on a referendum, which isn't happening, or the 9 million on their 8 embassies that they run, or perhaps she could have looked at the 300 million they've spent so far on 2 ferries, which are 5 years late and 150 million over budget, or the 52.4 million on the collapsed BiFab company, or the 5 million on climate change reparations, or the nearly 600 million they spent to bail out Sanjeev Gupta's smelting business, or the £500,000 wasted on publicly owned energy company that never happened. That adds up to $1 billion. But instead, the Scottish National Party are going to have to cut frontline services and capital projects to balance their books. As the Auditor General has pointed out this week, he's lifted the veil on the scale of the SNP's financial incompetence. I think the people of Scotland deserve better than that, and that is why I will be putting this clip out later.